Welcome to California Bar Prep, your study companion for the California Bar exam. In this lesson, Advanced California Trusts, Modification, Termination, Cypress, and Breach Remedies. Let's begin. Advanced trust essays ask what happens after a valid trust exists but circumstances change or the trustee misbehaves. The settler's plan may become inefficient. Beneficiaries may want early termination, a charitable purpose may become impossible, or a trustee may invest poorly, self-deal, or refuse information. California law balances three forces: settler intent, beneficiary welfare, and practical administration. The probate code gives courts flexible tools, but those tools are not unlimited. Modification and termination questions require you to ask who wants the change, what the trust instrument says, whether the settler is alive, whether all beneficiaries consent, whether the change defeats a material purpose, and whether changed circumstances justify court intervention. Breach questions require you to identify the duty, causation, loss, remedy, and defenses. Charitable trust questions require special attention to Cypress and enforcement. California Probate Code sections 15,400 through 15414 govern many modification and termination issues. Probate Code section 15400 allows revocation by the settler if the trust is revocable. Probate Code section 15401 addresses methods of revocation. Probate Code section 15403 permits modification or termination by consent of all beneficiaries if continuance is not necessary to carry out a material purpose, and allows court approval even if a material purpose exists when reasons for modification outweigh the interest in accomplishing that purpose. Probate Code section 15409 allows modification or termination because of changed circumstances if needed to further the trust's purpose. A California trust may be modified or terminated according to its terms, by settler action if revocable, by beneficiary consent with statutory limits, by court order based on changed circumstances or trust purposes, or when the trust purpose is fulfilled, impossible, illegal, or exhausted. Charitable trusts may be modified under Cypress when the specific charitable purpose becomes impossible, impracticable, or illegal and the settler had a general charitable intent. For breach of trust, beneficiaries may obtain remedies including damages, surcharge, accounting, removal, injunction, tracing, constructive trust, equitable lien, denial of compensation, and restoration of trust property. If a trust is revocable, the settler may revoke or amend it by the method provided in the trust instrument. If the instrument provides an exclusive method, the settler must substantially comply with that method. If the method is not exclusive, California law generally permits revocation by a writing signed by the settler and delivered to the trustee during the settler's lifetime, subject to Probate Code section 15401. Capacity matters. The settler must have the required mental capacity at the time of amendment or revocation. Under Probate Code section 15403, if all beneficiaries consent, they may compel modification or termination unless continuance is necessary to carry out a material purpose of the trust. A material purpose may include spendthrift protection, staged distributions at certain ages, support of a vulnerable beneficiary, tax planning, professional management, preservation of a family asset, or protection from creditors. A mere administrative preference is usually less material. Even if a material purpose exists, the court may modify or terminate if the reasons for doing so outweigh the interest in accomplishing that purpose. This balancing approach is more flexible than the old common law rule. Still, do not assume unanimous beneficiaries can always collapse a trust. If the settler clearly wanted assets protected until a beneficiary reaches 35, early termination at May 21st defeat a material purpose. Changed circumstances provide another route. Probate Code section 15409 permits modification if circumstances not known to the settler and not anticipated would defeat or substantially impair the trust purpose, or if modification would further the trust purpose. Examples include tax law changes, uneconomic administration, changed family needs, unavailable property, or obsolete administrative directions. A charitable trust benefits the public or a sufficiently indefinite charitable class. It may be perpetual. Because charitable trusts serve public purposes, enforcement may involve the California Attorney General, who protects charitable assets. The named charity or beneficiaries may also have roles depending on the facts. Cypres means as near as possible. If a specific charitable purpose becomes impossible, impracticable, or illegal, a court may redirect the property to a charitable purpose that approximates the settler's general charitable intent. The key is general charitable intent. If the settler intended only one specific institution and no broader charitable objective, failure of that institution may cause a resulting trust or reversion rather than precedent. But courts often infer general charitable intent from a gift to charity, especially when the instrument shows a broad purpose such as education, health, religion, poverty relief, or community benefit. A breach of trust is a trustee's violation of a duty owed to beneficiaries. Start by naming the duty: loyalty, prudence, impartiality, control, preservation, diversification, accounting, disclosure, no commingling, or obedience to the instrument. Then connect breach to loss or improper gain. Probate Code Section 16420 lists remedies, including compelling the trustee to perform duties, enjoining breach, compelling redress by payment or restoration of property, appointing a receiver or temporary trustee, removing the trustee, setting aside trustee acts, reducing or denying compensation, imposing a lien or constructive trust, and tracing trust property. Probate Code Section 16440 addresses trustee liability for breach, generally including loss or depreciation in trust estate value, profit made by the trustee through breach, or profit that would have accrued absent the breach. Surcharge is the money judgment against a trustee for loss caused by breach. If a trustee imprudently invests in speculative assets and the trust loses value, surcharge may restore the difference between actual value and what prudent administration would have produced. If a trustee self-deals and profits, beneficiaries may disgorge the profit even if the trust did not suffer measurable loss. Loyalty remedies are strict because deterrence matters. Tracing remedies include constructive trust and equitable lien. If a trustee misappropriates trust property and buys an asset, beneficiaries may trace into that asset. If the asset appreciates, constructive trust may capture the gain. If the asset depreciates or includes mixed funds, an equitable lien may secure repayment. A trustee may defend by showing compliance with a trust instrument, beneficiary consent after full disclosure, court approval, statute of limitations, exculpatory clause, lack of causation, or that the challenge decision was prudent when made. Prudence is judged at the time of decision, not with hindsight. However, an exculpatory clause generally will not protect bad faith, intentional wrongdoing, reckless indifference, or profit from breach. Modification versus interpretation. Modification changes terms. Interpretation resolves ambiguity. Cypres versus deviation. Cypres adjusts charitable purpose. Deviation adjusts administrative method. Surcharge versus disgorgement. Surcharge compensates trust loss. Disgorgement strips trustee profit. Removal versus damages. Removal protects future administration. Damages redress past harm. Beneficiary consent versus settler intent. Consent is powerful but limited by material purpose and statutory standards. Do not skip unborn or unascertained beneficiaries. All beneficiaries includes persons with future interests, and virtual representation or guardian ad litem issues may arise. If a beneficiary class is open, court approval becomes more important. Do not treat charitable trust failure like private trust failure. Look for general charitable intent and cypres before allowing reversion. Organize by requested action. If beneficiaries want early distribution, analyze Probate Code Section 15403, unanimous consent, material purpose, and balancing. If circumstances changed, analyze Probate Code Section 15409. If a charity no longer exists, analyze charitable intent and precedent. If trustee misconduct appears, list duties, breach facts, remedies under Probate Code Section 16420, liability under Section 16440, and defenses. That's it for this lesson. Download California Bar Prep on the App Store for lessons on all 14 bar subjects, practice questions, and essay frameworks. Keep studying, and good luck on the bar exam.